What's up, Juventini? Welcome back to the AJC, your channel dedicated to Juventus, and we've got a lot to discuss, a lot in the mercato. We're going to talk some Azzurri and what went down. We're going to talk Club World Cup as there are updates there. We've got a ton to look at. We got a full panel here, all right? We got from left to right, we're going to rock this out. We got Paolo. Paolo, morning, brother. How you doing today?
Buongiorno. I'm doing good, thank you. Spalletti out.
Spalletti out. There you go. And we got Frankie next to myself here. How are you doing, brother?
Doing great. Better than Spalletti, that's for sure.
I think we're all doing better than him, man. All doing better than him. And, of course, on the end, the anchor, frickin' Omer. How you doing, brother?
Oh, man. I got to the of course segment of the podcast. I need to lay low for a while. I'm good. I'm after 2 weddings, so my voice is a bit, what you would call it, a Charlie horse, I believe. So, excuse me if I have is this what it's called? I don't know. No. I have a sore throat a bit. So
Charlie horse is like an injury to your quad there. Just horse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Horse. Okay.
That's awesome, though. Spalletti. I love this instantly. Yeah, he's going to be known as Spalletti, and we will talk Azzurri and everything. Like I said, we have a lot to discuss. There's a lot that's come over the past couple days. Look at this chat here. You guys all fired up. Drop a like while you're in here. We got a ton to discuss. What's up to everybody in here? Okay, Anthony, Banicia, Dragons 8, Trim, Wing of Winter, Cugino, Eddie, Ryan S, Swarit, Yorio, Alex. Great to see all of you in here. All right, we've got a ton to discuss. I'm looking forward to seeing and hearing from all your reactions on the news around Juventus. We're going to kick things off with just some of the confirmations that have come out. The Serie A schedule was dropped yesterday. We have Juve's here, and we are going to lose one member just quickly while we pull up the schedule here. Okay, but it's going to be all right. You've got your first half, 19 matches on the left, your second half on the ritorno on the right. And people are already analyzing, looking at this schedule and just saying, oh, first 5 games difficult, all this. It's really difficult to, say without seeing where the teams line up, where the rosters finish up and everything. And you're still going to have a preseason to go through it. You don't take a lot out of preseason, but I just don't put a whole lot in the schedule at this moment other than one thing. And for me, it's always the closeout. I'll usually look towards the end of the schedule. And if you're going to put a gauge, do something like that. So if we look at the end there, after Atalanta, Bologna, Milan, Verona, Lecce, Fiorentina, and then a Derby della Mola, which really hasn't been a derby for a long time. So it's an interesting finish around that time because those are usually crunch games and everything. But that's more where I look to. And I overall think it's going to be okay, the schedule. But really, what are we talking about until we see the roster Juve finishes with and maybe a little bit more from Tudor? But do you guys take a whole lot out of a schedule when you get it here in June? Let's start with Paolo here.
Not really. I'm interested in the first game or two to see how you might start. And then, of course, the last 2 games. You want to know if there's 3 or 6 points at your disposal, depending on who your opponent is. So,
yeah.
That's about it.
And then, Frankie, you taking a whole bunch out of the schedule right now?
No, I usually try to check out the first games, especially when we take into consideration the previous season. But there's a lot of changes, man.
Yeah.
A lot of coaching change. Like, if last season, if I saw Parma in the schedule, I used to say, oh, it's a hard game because Parma with Kiwu has been good, but Kiwu is no longer Parma. It's going to go to Inter. And you got a lot of changes in coaches. We're probably one of the teams that, if Tudor stays, who will think is going to stay officially, but it's not completely announced, but I think it's going to stay, have the continuity in manager, players. So we are in a better position in that aspect. So I just want to see the teams that we're playing at the beginning and if they have the continuity that we have. If they do, then there's going to be a tougher match. But if not, it's going to be probably Genoa is going to be one of the toughest games because they have continuity in the manager position. So,
yeah. And Omer, what do you take out of the schedule at this point? Anything?
It doesn't look favorable to Juve, but I think we have like PTSD from past few seasons. Because I used to look at the schedule and see like I used to look at the games of like Inter, Milan, Napoli, maybe Roma. Those were the tough games. And now you're looking at it and Fiorentina is a tough one. Bologna is not an easy match. So because Juve have been bad, the schedule doesn't look well. But 2 years ago, maybe even last season, we had a very good schedule with like good distance between the tough matches and we still drop the ball. So it doesn't really mean anything, especially with all what you said. With new managers, you don't know what to expect from anyone, especially not from Juve.
Yeah. You look at Drin here, this comment. Inter with Kivu. Atalanta with Juric. Fiorentina with Pioli. He says we'll all be shit. And you know what? That's the thing. It's actually going to be unknown. Even Gasperini at Roma, I mean, there's so much turnover that I don't think if there was ever a season, even people that do take a bunch out of the schedule, I think it goes out the window this year because of how much coaching turnover has happened this season. Like, and even Massimiliano Allegri heading to Milan, like just everyone that's in that top section has changed. Lazio has gone back to Sarri. It's all over the place. So,
and you got the Champions League too, Bert. You've got I think the Champions League is what interests me during that window of schedule where those games fall in, and we got killed by having a lack of depth. What'd you call it? A light bench, I think. So we need the depth to get through Champions League games like some other teams will need to, and that'll impact the schedule a bit more, I think, once you start to sow those games in between.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Now, my favorite part of this schedule being announced yesterday had to be Juve's ice cream parlor freaking video there, and I gotta say, I'm pushing for a raise. Somebody deserves a raise, okay? And I'll tell you why. This is Parma, the first game. Oh wait, okay, you can see their nice ice cream flavor, but whoever the hell did this, I'm going to say this was intentional, and this is Inter's flavor. It's literally shit on a stick, and that is so fitting for Inter merda. So give that man a raise, all right? Whoever was in charge of this, absolutely beautiful, and there has never been anything more fitting than this for Inter merda, okay? So I absolutely love that. I thought that was hilarious. I was literally just howling when I saw that. So fantastic job, Juventus admin, on that, because I thought overall, what are we doing with these ice cream flavors? And then I saw that, the third one. Oh my God. Just cracking up instantly. Now, Club World Cup, everybody, which we are already preparing for. Tudor has been there. Comolli has come in. Everyone's reiterating to Tudor, you're our guy. You're our guy. Meanwhile, rumors are running rampant about them shopping for a coach all over the place. But no, he's the guy. Tudor made 3 demands, which we will get to in a bit here. First, there are some announcements around Club World Cup, and I'll just hit this up real quick. There is a fan tour, a North American fan tour that is happening. This is obviously going to play in part with the Juventus official fan clubs, but it is open to everyone. Now, I just want to let you know there are certain aspects around this fan tour, and this is the locations and this is the date. On June 11th, this is literally this coming Wednesday, it's going to be in Toronto, and it's going to run from 10 a.m. till, I believe, actually close to 5 p.m. Sunday, June 15th, it's going to be in Boston. June 18th, it's going to be in Washington. On the 22nd, it's going to be at Philadelphia at Xfinity Live, and there's going to be a big AJC contingent that will be there in Philadelphia. We also have ourselves a private event that we're going to have a meetup at Xfinity Live for the AJC and official fan clubs the night prior from 5 to 8 p.m. Thursday, June 26th, Orlando. There is a meet and greet with 2 Juventus legends, but you've got to be part of an official fan club. You have to be an official fan club member to access that portion. All right, so if you need help getting in touch, then reach out to us. Otherwise, on the official Juventus site, you could see the closest fan club to you and join. There's going to be amazing, amazing stuff. And for anyone that's going to be in Philadelphia, I will be arriving there late Thursday evening, and then there's going to be stuff that we're doing throughout the entire weekend. Reach out. There's been a ton that have reached out to me already. I can't wait to meet you. We're going to have a lot of fun. Now, Club World Cup, Tudor. Tudor made some demands. So one was 3 or 4 top signings. The other was a contract extension, 1 more year, going to 2027. And then the last was to expand the coaching staff. And it can be hires from within. He just didn't want to be limited on the staff that he brought in to salvage the rest of the season. Omer, how do you feel about those apparent demands or requests? Let's call them requests.
Yeah, I don't think the contract length is an issue. If you need to fire him at the end of the season, just do it like you did with any other manager in the past few years. In terms of salary, I don't think it's bad. 3-4 signings is an actually very decent request. Some would ask for a lot more. No, I don't really have any issues with them. I mean, if you're giving that up, I mean, anyone who will come in will have basically the same demands, if not longer contracts, more players, and it's again starting the same cycle again, another year, and who knows if we'll be there again next year with a new manager. I don't find it as troubling as it was made out to be.
All right, Frankie, what do you think about those requests made by Tudor?
I agree with Omer. I think those requests were fair, completely fair. The contract thing, I know people are going to say, oh, we should probably stay with the flexibility of staying with only one this season. So if something happens, then you can go with another coach. But I think he deserves that, man. He came when we were in a horrible position. He got the result that we needed. So it's completely fair to ask for another season, for an extension. The players, I think also we need those reinforcements. We need the depth. And when we're talking about expanding the coaching staff, it's completely fair. You want to give the guy as much tools as he needs to work with. So I think it's completely fair. No unreasonable. Actually, I'm with Omer. Some people will probably ask for more. Some people will ask for 2 seasons and even more players. So, and the coaching thing is obvious. It's obvious. If you're short staff, you need more guys to work with. So, completely reasonable.
All right. And Paolo, what do you think about the requests?
I'd like to hear the details, and I think there's probably more. So I want to know who he asked for and what positions and what kind of things he was looking at. I think there's more to it, and it would have been nice to have been given more details in those things, which are kind of table stakes.
Yeah, right now the talk is obviously at wingback and trying to get some support there for him. Obviously, we've got some names we will look at, etc. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's all fine. I mean, to expand the coaching staff, especially if you're going to hire within, no problems. 3 to 4 top signings, we should be doing that anyways. The contract extension, to work in peace or not be part of an expiring project, I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's out of this world to ask for from Tudor, but I also don't think it's something that Juve needs to do. Your incentive is to put yourself in a position where you spoke very confidently about yourself while we were closing out the last season. We were closing out the last season, and you said, I'm inferior to nobody as a manager, as rumors were lingering around Juve and Conte, etc. So you talk the talk, you walk the walk. There's no need for another year to be added on, even if the price on your salary is low, etc. No, your incentive is to put your best foot forward and back up all the talk. The reality is that the way we finished the season, there's still a lot of question marks around him as well as a manager. I think if you're Juve, you just play it cool and relax. There's no need to rush into anything. So,
but based on how he was treated so far, I mean, they didn't show him a lot of belief in him or whatever. I get why he would ask for more guarantees, because they haven't given him any. I mean, he's still up in the air at this particular moment, even after getting turned down by I don't know how many managers it is right now. I get why he wants to secure his future a bit more, because that.
But is that because of media though? Because Juve never followed up with Conte. Napoli followed up every single day after the De Laurentiis and Conte meeting, but Juve didn't.
No.
Yeah, so let's put it all under a headline of a lot of it is media. I'm not even certain that's what he asked for. I don't know how would anyone know what he asked for. So I have no idea. Everything is under media. I can't tell you anything.
As it stands right now, he walked into a situation that is played out with everything that he agreed to. He agreed to come in with no guarantees. He agreed to get the Club World Cup and 1-year option. The Club World Cup was actually part of the guarantee, which he's always got, and he's got it. But he got the 1-year option extension for reaching Champions League. Everything as it stands is exactly what he's got. Juve doesn't control the media. Juve could have done a better job of protecting the situation and handling the narrative. That they should have done. But these things happen all the time. As a manager, I mean, Jesus, he said it himself, Tudor, a million times. You live by the day. This is part of the job. He was with Lazio and finished the season off strong. They cut him loose and went and grabbed Baroni. And he coached that entire moment through nothing but rumors and turmoil, no guarantees. He was with Marseille for 2 seasons or a season and a half. I think it was a season and a half. And there was constant rumors around him. It is what it is. I don't know. Like, it's like, if you're that unsure, okay, if they were that unsure, I mean, I believe that they would have had somebody out of the mix. You would have had somebody out of the mix this past period of time. To grab a manager with everyone that was available, like, I mean, if you were that unconvinced that you wanted to move forward with Tudor, I'm starting to think it's not as dramatic as the media leads, and I feel like they were okay going into that option year. Just take the option.
So again, we're fueled a lot by the media and what they say. I'm certain at least 70% of it isn't true. But Giuntoli is the one who brought him, and they asked him to come in immediately, and he did. Like, he held up his part of the deal. As it looks from the outside, yeah, I wouldn't trust them with anything right now, but he knows a lot more than we do. He had discussion with them. That's why take everything with a pinch of salt. I mean, it's not actually what happens or what he knows, and we always found out that everything we knew was actually done 3 weeks ago, and we heard about it just now.
Yeah.
So they live, like, for us, they live 3 weeks in the future, a month in the future. Maybe he's already a guaranteed coach for next season. We'll find out soon.
A bigger issue than him getting a 1-year contract section is, what are we doing in the mercato? Okay, where's Juve? Where's the action? Where's some signings here? What are we doing? Okay, we talked about Club World Cup. So far, it's been confirmed. Vega has returned to Chelsea. Okay, so he's gone bye-bye. We've got Rugani coming back. We've got Facundo Gonzalez returning. Do we need to still get a center back going into Club World Cup? You want to see a center back going into Club World Cup? You want to get by with those guys? See more of Facundo Gonzalez?
Yeah.
I want a center back.
I don't want Juve to sign anyone before they know who the coach is and what they're doing. No panic signings.
It's
the Club
Tudor.
World Cup. It's nice. It's okay for now. It's Tudor, and if by the end of the month they decide it's not Tudor, then I want a manager to ask for a specific player he wants.
Who would be the guy coming in after Club World Cup in a month? Like, I can't see that happening. Like,
Spalletti.
Definitely
There's
not.
no one left, man. There's no one left.
Yeah.
Like, Tudor's got the year, and
yeah.
I think you signed a couple of great center backs. If you got a couple of guys out there, like, what was that one guy, Leone? If you got a couple of targets who you like, you grab them, because whether you are a coach who likes that particular player or not, if they are solid, you have them in your roster and you roll with them. We need bodies. We need bodies. Last year we were short bodies. Our bench was light. Start signing people, man. Put the money out there. Get some good bodies in there. Tudor or not, you got to find some quality players. At least in the center back position, it is what it is.
I think when you're talking positionally too, like, you have to look at this when you're talking about signing specific players for a coach. I mean, if you're talking about a center back, is it really going to make a big difference as to who the coach is, whatever? Like, get a good fucking center back. I don't care who your coach is. Like, that's what we're talking about. If you're talking about up top, the characteristics change a bit when you're talking about certain attacking players. Like Conte likes his big body target men, and other guys like their inverted wingers, etc. It's like that I can see. But at center back, I'm like, bring me a center back now. They don't want to use Bremer.
Me too.
They don't want to use Bremer. Bremer's going to be reserved for, not playing in the Club World Cup. I still think he's going to see some minutes here and there, but they want to preserve it, and I completely agree with it. But you've got to sign a center back. You've got to. Absolutely have to. What are your thoughts on Leone, guys? Frankie?
Well, apparently today Brighton or some other English club are leading the race for him, so if that's the case, I believe he's already out.
No,
like, it came from
I
Skira,
can't buy
so
that one. I'm not buying that.
It came from Skira. Just saying.
Yeah.
Why? We have seen it.
I just think that our relation with Parma is not bad. I don't think that our relation with Parma is as Fiorentina or maybe Atalanta, which is different. I think that the price is not going to be extremely high. I think it's a good price because he's 18 years old. He's probably one of the best prospects in his position in Italy. And if you ask me, I think he wants to go to a club in Italy, a good club in Italy.
Oh, I think sorry, I mixed Coppola and Leone. Sorry, I meant Coppola.
No. That makes more sense because if you're a Leone, you think I can go to whatever club in Premier League, which is not going to be a big club because I don't think no big club in the Premier League is going to go for him. But if you can go to a big Italian club, which you're already in Italy, you're an Italian player, you know that there are big clubs after you because he knows that Juventus is probably looking at him. He knows that a team like Milan is looking at him. He knows that a team, even Atalanta, is probably looking at him. So I think it's a clear choice for Juventus. He's extremely young, so he gives you that room to develop. He shows that he is good. I think you need to sign him as fast as possible because he's going to be a guy that his price is going to increase depending on how much time it passes. And at the end of the day, I believe that Juventus does not think that Giallo and Facundo Gonzalez are players that are going to stick with the team for next season. So you got to bring the guys early, guys that you know are going to play for you next season. And Leon is probably going to be a guy like that gives you that. And also, what he also gives you is another center back that can maybe move Kalulu to the right wing back position, which I think is probably his best position, or at least he's as good as a center back. So that gives you a lot of flexibility. If you ask me, what does Juventus need more than anything? I think that will help us a lot with the depth problems. Obviously, the striker and all that is another thing that we need to accomplish or need to manage. But getting another center back that you trust, is going to help us a lot. And I totally believe that Tudor is going to want that signing because he has shown to have the talent to play in a team like Juventus.
Yeah, Leone, I see a comment in here about from Ryan in terms of his injury. So what happened to Leone is he got, it's listed as a knee, but it's also listed as a muscular issue. So a little confusion there, but his actual return date is mid to late August. And that's just taking it really, really easy. So there is that there. But Leone is, highly, highly touted. I'd like that. But I'd like somebody maybe a cut above like already, established more. I would have liked Vega retaining him too. And maybe it's not done, but I kind of feel like it is done. But Omar, you said you're willing to bet that Vega returns to Juve.
Oh, yeah, I didn't mean this summer. I mean, I think he'll still be at Chelsea. It seems like Maresca wants him, but he will.
So you're thinking when he's like 35, he comes back like in typical Juve fashion.
I believe in like a year or two, we'll see him after he doesn't play enough for Chelsea. They still have like a million center backs. They have like Fofana, which they signed for like 80 million. So I think he will be like dispensable for them if he just doesn't find his way. And Chelsea are like a weird club. In a month, Maresca could not be their manager anymore, and then the tables have turned. Chelsea change manager and play like I change socks. So
yeah,
I believe he'll end up at Juve. I think based on watching him play and how he integrated himself into the environment, he liked what he's seen. He liked Juve, so I think he'll be back.
And Omar, you make a good point because Chelsea's got, I think, 80 people on their roster. So Juve is in a situation where we've got a lot of space on our bench. So guys like Leone can come in. There's guys who we're talking to who can get a starting role. And I think that's an advantage that we should try and take in this mercato is getting guys on the pitch. We have spaces that need to be filled.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Donnarumma.
Side note, start investing in Facundo Gonzalez. That's what I would say.
I'd like to see him at Club World Cup. But Donnarumma, guys. Oh my God, Juve's working behind the scenes to get this thing done. Giovanni Albanese. Oh my God. I'm not buying it for a second.
It doesn't seem realistic. It seems as complicated as Osimhen. The only way it can happen is if they know they're going to sell Di Gregorio. Because there were some rumors mid-season about the City being interested in whatever. If they already know they are selling him for 40 million or whatever, and they will have the money, but I don't see it happening. No way.
That's what Albanese is trying to go on, is the fact that Di Gregorio has a lot of interest, which I would believe. And we picked him up on a cheap deal. Very, very good deal from Monza. Fantastic business. In my opinion, when it comes to Italian goalkeepers, he's actually only second to Donnarumma, in my personal opinion. It just, with this many needs that the team carries that are all at a complete different position, this makes absolutely zero sense from Juventus. And I want to remind everybody, you just pulled in the king of Moneyball, Comolli. Does this fit his MO? Absolutely not. I'm not buying it for a second.
It's a bunch of bullshit. This is the time where reporters are trying to get clicks, doing whatever they can. You talk about Juve, you talk about Donnarumma, you talk about Tonali. That generates people clicking, right? So all this stuff is just fluff. I think it's nonsense.
Yeah, we're not buying into the Donnarumma stuff. And Di Gregorio's got to get some more respect, in my personal opinion.
Of course.
Absolutely.
He's probably other. Let's be real. If we make a draft of Serie A goalkeepers, probably going number one, I think, Di Gregorio. Maybe some people will say Sommer. But I think Di Gregorio probably goes number one. I think this is a spectacular goalkeeper.
I think this past season, I mean, Svilar, Di Gregorio, and Sommer probably the top three.
Yeah, and Sommer, you probably, I won't rate him as high just because of the age thing. With his older, more veteran goalkeepers, or you don't have that room to work with. But when we talk about goalkeepers, he's probably one of the best. If City wants a goalkeeper like Di Gregorio, you're not coming to Juventus with 40 million. You go at least 70, and that's me, because there are not a lot of goalkeepers right now that can stop shots like Di Gregorio, and also are not bad with their feet. Because Di Gregorio is not bad with their feet. So if you're coming to me to get a Di Gregorio, start talking 70 million. Start talking.
Well, this is the thing we're going to get into when it comes to players and values, etc., which we will get into as some of our players are being targeted within Italy. But we are no longer without leverage. The books are good, and now it's time to actually get serious, and it's time for Juve to start playing the game. In return, all this time that we spent trying to get our stuff sorted out, that time has ended, and now it's time to play the game. But Di Gregorio, I mean, come on. And Spalletti, as Dragon's 8 puts here, choosing Merit over Di Gregorio is just insane. That's just one of many Spalletti things. And don't worry, everybody. We'll talk about Mr. Clean in a bit here. We'll get to him. Jonathan David, off the table. Listen, Gazzetta contradicted this by claiming that a final offer is going to be reaching Jonathan David very soon. You have Monblano being the one that said it's off the table and Juve has backed out. Monblano, not very reliable whatsoever. Hit the Pogba news once, but this season he was spot on Calvo, and he was spot on with Giuntoli getting sacked. We still take everything with a grain of salt. I don't actually think Juve's done for Jonathan David. Out of the main targets now with Comolli coming in, they're claiming it's Gyökeres, David, Retegui. Do you guys believe, as individuals, we'll go through the panel, that it's done for David? Who do you want Juve to sign out of those top guys? We'll start with actually Paolo.
It's hard to imagine what is really happening. We hear names. There's agents and players putting their names out there, connecting themselves and their players to clubs. They're marketing their players. This is the time where you have news that's fabricated by agents and players. So it's shopping season, and I get it. So I don't know what's really going on. I would not pay 25 million for David to show up. He should take the job for free. Now I get you want a signing bonus. Okay, fine. But the arrogance of this guy wanting 25 million when I'd rather put 5 on that and get Conceição wrapped up. To come at 25 just to sign, get out of here, man. Get out. There's a reason this guy has not been signed. He's been this idea. And I'm a Canadian, so I love the guy on our national team, but this guy has been on the market for a long time, waiting, ready, free signing, and he's still on the shelf. So I would love Gyökeres. I would throw the 60, 70 million and give it a shot. But I am not a fan of David, and I'm definitely not a fan of David at 25 million just to show up at the party. Come on.
Who do you want?
I want Gyökeres.
At 70. Okay.
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay. Frankie, your thoughts on David and who do you want?
I think David, this last season is probably the first season when we see continuity on a good season. Like he had the year before, he was good, and he was always up and down, and you never knew if he was good enough or consistent. He had good showings in the Champions League. He played good against us. He played good in League One. He was good overall. So I understand why people are rating him, especially he's 25. So he's not an older striker. He's young still. But, man, I've been talking to my friends since I've been following Gyökeres, and I'm keeping a list of teams that were able to sign him and are not going to sign him. Like, Arsenal are not going to sign him. They're going with the guy from Leipzig. So that's one team is out. Chelsea just brought in the lab, so they are not going to sign Gyökeres. You got City already have a striker. Manchester United, I don't think they're going to sign him. I think their priorities in other positions. They already are going for Mbuemo from Premier League, so they're not going to sign him. I think we are in a good position to get probably the best striker in Europe when we talk about form. I know he plays in Portugal, but I think he's probably the best striker right now. And I always said Osimhen was at the top because he was probably the only guy that I thought that we could sign. But Gyökeres is another level, man. And I think with Tudor, who needs that guy, who needs a striker, a ruthless striker, he's going to flourish, man. He's going to flourish. I think Gyökeres is my guy. Do I think David is bad? No, he's not a bad player. But I would much rather for us to go for Jonathan David for Gyökeres, because I think he's the better striker. At the end of the day, it's going to be hard because it's going to be a high fee because he's still a very good player. But for me, Gyökeres. But I'll say this. If we don't get Gyökeres and wind up with Retegui, I don't have any problems neither. But for me, Gyökeres.
Omer, where are you at on the striker?
Well, I agree with Paolo. David is absolutely insane. Juve are not privileged to be in contact with him. He's privileged to be contacted with Juve. They should draw the line. Look, that's what we're willing to pay you. If you don't want that, you can't play for Juve. That's about it. There are a million other strikers, and apparently, if the deal isn't signed and you don't have a team for next year, and you're still there to ask for those numbers, you're insane. Insane, and you're gonna end up with some mediocre team, the same Rabiot situation that he had. Now, I mean, I don't want to parrot what they said, but yeah, Gyökeres seems like a good deal. He has a release clause, which is very suitable for us. It seems like an amount we were already ready to spend on Osimhen, even more than that. So, but half of Europe is like chasing him, and you never know. I mean, Man United can sign him even if they don't need him, just to stack their team up even more. So he'll be my first choice, but I have no issues. Okay, I have minor issues with going after Retegui, but still, I think is a good alternative. Gyökeres would be number one for me.
And Amarin wants Gyökeres. Sorry, Bert, but Amarin wants Gyökeres. That's his guy. That's his sporting guy. He would love to get Højlund out there and have someone else pay the wages. So Amarim's going to go after Gyökeres for sure.
Yeah.
I just hope we can put the cash in front, whereas Man U's going to be loaning out. They're going to want to give Sporting 15 million every year for 5 years, whereas Juve can lay the cash out. We have cash right now. I think we have to use it.
And don't let them do it. Don't go for Xerxes or Højlund.
I'm gonna weigh in on David here. I mean, it's high for the signing bonus. Signing bonuses are nothing new with free agents. That one is high at 25. It's pretty crazy. But to be honest, I'm actually happy with any of the three. If we get David, if we get Gyökeres, if we get Retegui, I'm actually okay with any of the three there. I mean, they're all just different situations that they carry. Retegui's going to have the question mark of, man, we're going at Atalanta player again on a strong fucking system that was going there. You've got Gyökeres that could be like another Dusan situation, maybe. I'm not saying he's got traits that are obviously higher than Dusan, but I mean, it's a big splash. There's been many fans that have said, can we just not splash? Can we work the way we used to back in the old days where, we rounded out a team solidly, and then when we made a splash, it was like that final piece that you thought would be that final piece of the puzzle, like, for instance, when we went out and nabbed Higuain on a very high release clause. They all carry different circumstances around them, right? So at the end of the day, I do actually like all three of those guys, and I would be fine, and I could justify all three of those signings from Juve. It's going to be interesting to see which route they go. I mean, I'm literally just looking at my phone as we see this, and I see a post that says that Juventus is going to look at Conrad Harder, 20-year-old Sporting striker. This is from Gazzetta, though, and that would be the wrong friggin' striker from Sporting, okay? So, just look at that roster, go up a couple names, okay, and get the right guys. So, we take everything with a grain of salt. I'd actually be happy with all of these guys. I do agree that fee with David is a little bit high, but signing bonuses, these guys, they take their stabs and then they end up. But he is also playing a dangerous game, as you guys mentioned, because he could be the one ultimately that misses out playing that game and chasing way too much. So we'll see where it lands in the end. And we've got a lot more because the Højlund news is shot down that Juve has backed out. Okay, so they're looking at other candidates. He is gone. This made a lot of fans happy, and I am one of them. I don't want to go that route. Gutierrez, a big push apparently going to come from Juventus on Gutierrez, of course. We will wait and see. There's news of Cambiasso still being uncertain for his future. Max Allegri wants to put the band back together, man. He wants Cambiasso, he wants Fede Chiesa, he wants Dusan Vlahovic. And everybody's jumping on this. And here's my thing, as we talked about values, player values and everything. If we're selling in Italy, we got a different price tag for all these guys, okay? This is where I'm at now. Cambiasso, you want to sell him outside of Italy and whatever, you can make the discussion for 65. In Italy, 85 you want Cambiasso, okay? 85 before I even want to talk to you guys, okay? It's time to play the game. Milan, I don't think you can afford. I don't think you can afford it, okay? Flat out. And another thing is, when you talk about Chiesa, you talk about Vlahovic. Milan wants Vlahovic. Allegri wants Vlahovic. I'm not buying into the fact that he wants to go and play under that again. I'm not buying into that, but we'll wait and see. But where do you guys stand with now even Gatti is in the news for Napoli chasing him, etc., and all contract extensions are apparently on hold? What do you do? First off, where are you at with Cambiasso? Would you sell Cambiasso? Because I'm kind of on the fence now, and I'd like to see him at least through Club World Cup. If he can regain the form of the first half of this season, I'd probably keep him and add Gutierrez, which is an option that we can do. And then Cambiasso on the right, Gutierrez on the left. Like, where are you at with Cambiasso? And we'll start with Omer here. Is that a sell or keep?
For me, keep. I mean, the trajectory is weird. Less than a year ago, Juve were his Real Madrid, and he wanted to spend his entire career here. A few months after, he's linked with Man City, I believe, and Mota had something to do with it. But I would like to keep him. I do believe he's better on the right side, so Gutierrez is fine. It seems like we're going in for 3 men at the back. So still the priority would be probably a center back. But still, I would keep him. I would definitely not sell him in Italy, not to Milan and not for 80 million.
All
I
right, we
mean,
got a
80 is
comment in
the
here
max.
that says if 60 million comes for Cambiasso, yes. If not, keep him. Would the 60 million stand in Italy too? If a club was willing to pay it, Frankie, what do you want to see done with Cambiasso?
Nobody's paying 60 million in Italy for a fullback. That's not going to happen. Nobody has. Even if they have the money, they are not going to spend it, especially taking into consideration you're giving Juve 60 million euros to work with. If an offer comes for 65, 70 million from the Premier League, I will think about it, probably, because it's a lot of money for a fullback. And I still have nightmares of Alexandro. Not
I know.
Alex. So, and with 60 million, you do send the guy to another league. You can buy Gutierrez, and you can probably buy the guy from Bruges also, and even Carreras from Benfica, who's probably going to Real Madrid, but his cost is 50. So at the end of the day, 65 million euros for a fullback is a lot of money. So I would probably grab the money and work with it. But if we're talking about Italy, no, you gotta pay me more. I'm not reinforcing you. Everybody does it with us. Atalanta does it with us. Fiorentina does it with us. Even Milan, yes, they sell Scalulu because they didn't want him. But when we asked about Tomori, they were asking for ridiculous prices also. So, no. Do you want a Cambiasso? You're going to have to pay at least 70 in Italy.
Yeah, I agree. And Paulo, where are you at with this Cambiasso thing? What would you like to see done?
Well, I agree that if he's going to be sold or moved in Serie A, you have to put the price incredibly high. If he goes to the Premier League, I want it in pounds, not euros. And ever since he got caught in the hot tub with Pep, it's been a problem. So I love Cambiasso, and I'd love to keep him. I think he's really versatile, but he's got shit going on. And if he's got something going on, I want 65 million pounds, and you can take whatever issues you have somewhere else.
There you go. Yeah, I think we can use the Club World Cup with Tudor and maybe evaluate a little further, but it was very concerning, that drop in this season from Cambiasso right around those rumors. It's something that he's going to have to shake off if he continues with us. But again, I still stand firm, and it goes for Gatti as well. I don't care if Mana rates Gatti and wants him, whatever. The price goes up in Italy. The price goes up. It's time to return the favor. We're not friggin' Club Med. We're not a charity case anymore. Okay? Too bad. So sad. Otherwise, there's the door. Don't let it hit you on the ass on your way out. Now, in terms of, we talked about Gutierrez being an option. Nuno Tavares, an option as well. If you had to, which is your preference out of the two? And who would you go after?
I would go after Tavares just because I've seen him play in Italy. He was actually very impressive. I liked it a lot, but the situation with Lazio complicates things. They have like a buyback clause of like 9 million. I believe they're going to exercise it. And then they're going to ask for 60 million from Juve. If they would do it. So it seems a bit trickier. I don't think the numbers for Gutierrez are that high, at least not from what I've seen.
Yeah.
But if I had to choose like between the two, leaving money aside and everything, I would go for Tavares just because I watched him more. It doesn't mean that he's a better player.
I would personally go with Tavares. Just haven't seen him, and in the league and everything, it would be my pick. Frankie.
I will go with Tavares too. Two aspects. First of all, the Serie A situation with Lazio. It's going to be hard to get a player from Lazio. It's going to be difficult. Especially taking into consideration that he was bought, or he's going to be bought by 9 million euros. They're probably going to ask minimum, and I'm being extremely generous to us, 40. They're going to ask something like that. And I'm being really nice to us. So if we're taking into consideration that, then you go with Gutierrez. We're talking about price. The thing is that obviously Gutierrez comes from Spain. It's a different league. The pressure is different. He's in Girona. Girona is not the same as playing in Juventus. So it's different. If the price is the same, I will go with Tavares because I think that with Tudor, which is the other thing, a player like Tavares is going to be better. Tudor is a more direct coach. He wants direct players. He wants players that go fast, and he's not a tiki-taka kind of manager, which Tavares is maybe more suited to that kind of style of football. So that's why Gutierrez. So Gutierrez is more a player that can play in a more position-based, tiki-taka kind of style of football. So that's why I will go with Tavares. And I think he's a better player. He's proven. My only concern with Tavares is his injury history, which he does have a lot of injuries. And he gets this muscle kind of injuries, which you're out 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and that hurts Juventus. But as a player, I think for me, it's not even close. If they're at the same price, I go for Tavares.
Justin saying the proven in Serie A theory doesn't apply to anyone. Dusan, Coop, etc. Actually, if you look at the list of guys coming outside the league it's a lot longer than the proven in Serie A list. Much, much larger. So, yeah, it's hit and miss with anybody. But, it is what it is. And your preference out of those guys, Paulo? Gutierrez, Tavares?
I'll go with what the guys say. I'm just so happy we have money and we have competitions. So,
yes.
Guys, get your shit together and buy the best bundle of players you can. Just get your job done.
The perfect segue to getting your shit together, because now we're going to get into management, all right? So, new era, Comolli in, same problems? Well, we're going to talk about this, but first off, a symbol of problems. Mirko Di Natale, I had to stop for a second, and as I wake up, I check my phone, I look at the news, and I kind of recap everything, and I'm like, did he actually just say this? Did I read this the way it was intended? I had to text Mirko and be like, did you actually say this? Or please tell me we made a mistake. And he says, no, that's exactly what I said. The clause for Lloyd Kelly to be redeemed was avoid relegation. That's what made this whole thing, for Juventus to ever include that in a deal for any player, at any point in their history, at any point, that probably is what got Giuntoli fired. That's insane. It's insanity. It's insanity. When you talk about guys talking about maybe top 4 was a dream achievement for management if you're going to put in a clause for a fucking player to avoid relegation. That's mind-blowing for me. And it's embarrassing when it's beyond embarrassing when shit like that hits the media. What on earth are you doing? I don't even have words, guys. Like, I don't even have words. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Beyond embarrassing. But, my goodness. Yeah. I don't know. Now, Giuntoli's gone. Comolli comes in. Does anybody...
really shook up.
Does anybody have concerns? Because the coaching scenario, the way everything unfolded, the reports of approaching Gasperini. This is a man whose dream was to coach Juventus one day, and he ended up sticking with the Roma deal. You have a search for a chief scout, potentially a sporting director, where Tognozzi, who is uno di noi, who left for just simply a season with Spezia, wanted to return. He says no as well. Now we are going to, forgive me if I make a mistake here, I believe it's Victor Bezzani, who was his technical director at Toulouse. Now we're bringing in another piece for him. Are there any concerns? Are these any red flags that we're seeing rejections now with this Elkann Comolli setup? And I mean, it even plays into potential targets and everything if you're looking at this whole scenario. But do you guys think that there's some red flags here with the rejections? Or you think it's just coincidental, it's circumstantial? Am I looking into things too much?
Yeah.
I'm not the only one.
I'm not willing to make a judgment yet or raise any red flags. I mean, it's literally been like a week and a half. And in the past few seasons, we've done everything that was supposed to be the rational thing, from bringing back Allegri to the players we signed to going with the new up-and-coming Mota. I don't know, maybe answers out of left field is the way to go for it. Maybe it will prove itself, but it's one of those situations that should be judged in hindsight. I believe money talks in a lot of these situations. We don't know how extensive the conversation with Gasperini were, if he was even interested. The fact that Juve gave him a call, fine. Maybe he declined immediately. I mean, the media is running wild right now. Every day, David, Juve are ahead for David. Juve are no longer interested in David the next day, and back and forth. So it's really hard to make out what's actually happening to it, because every name you'll connect to Juve right now. I mean, Berardi's name is up again, and there's no way they're asking about him, but everyone knows if they'll post his name, they'll get even the negative reaction, but they will get it. So I believe the media is having a field day with Juve right now. I believe more than half of it has nothing to do with what actually goes on. That's why I'm not willing to raise any red flags.
All right. Frankie, concerns?
I agree with. No, because there's not a. It's too early, man. But we cannot. When we're talking about sporting directors, general managers, positions like this, we cannot judge the same as players. Like, you have 3 bad games and he's a bad player. No, he needs time to work, and he needs time to build his team, take the player that he wants, make the structure that he wants, and I know the Tognozzi thing. Like, a lot of people were or are not happy about that, because they probably look at the list of names like Huysen, Sule, and all those kind of names, and even Yildiz, if I'm correct. But and that's why people are really in a bad mood because of that. The reality is that Arsenal wanted Tognozzi too, and they gave him a better offer, economically speaking. And Arsenal is one of those teams that economically can dominate us, because they are in a better position when we talk about money. So that's one thing. And if I'm Tognozzi, if I'm not being bring in to be sporting director, which is another higher position, and I'm getting paid to do the same job, then I'm getting the most money, and that's it. So I don't take a lot into the situation of Tognozzi. Also, you gotta give Comolli the time to work and take the staff that he thinks is gonna be good for him, because the loyalty and agreeing and being in having synergy with your staff is important in those positions. So no, for me, maybe this guy that he brings a lot of good players. Maybe his knowledge of French football helps us a lot. We'd never know. So let's give the guys a shot. Chiellini is there also, so we got a Juventino in a management position. So I'm not.
Paolo.
I think the guys are right. We don't know what to make of what the media puts out there. We don't know the offers made, if they cheaped out, if they didn't give titles to some of these prospects like Tognozzi, the title he wanted or deserved. So we don't know any of that stuff. But I've got red flags everywhere. And I've got red flags everywhere because this last year was a shit show, and management and Elkann were out to lunch. It was the parents away for the summer. The teenagers had the house, and they're partying. They're doing whatever they want with the Panda and Scandavino and all kinds of shit going on.
Wait. The Panda's not partying. He's passed out in one of the rooms sleeping.
Right, but he's there for like 3 days in the same spot, not changing his drawers. But anyway, so it was out of control. So my point is that Agnelli wouldn't have any of it. And what the red flags for me are that we've got Comolli and his team, and I'm not going to judge them early because they could be great. They could know what they're doing. But once you have someone in control and they bring in their own people, things get really secular very quickly. And it's understandable that leadership or managers or sporting directors, whatever, bring in their own people. I get it. But once you start to give control to a small number and you don't have the oversight that helps guide that decision-making, whether it's players, whether it's the staff around that general manager, whatever, you're in trouble. And you don't get to deal with it till later. Last year, Giuntoli left our bench empty. That's why we have Lord Kelly, is because Giuntoli failed to pad our bench appropriately. So Kelly gets to be the blame for all our failings. And so the red flags are, watch out, the control at the top is loose, and Agnelli would not have anything to do with it. Elkann's got to watch himself. I'm worried, and I shouldn't be, but I am because of Elkann.
And that's exactly where I'm going. They're 100% red flags. 100% they're red flags. Just not with Comolli because he's too fresh. So it's not a judgment on him, but are there red flags? Absolutely. The second I heard that it's a technical director coming in from Toulouse, the immediate thing that popped into my mind is immediately what I wanted us to avoid now that the books are right, and that's continue with Moneyball. Moneyball was made to get us out of the debt. If we are looking to continue in this fashion that they brought to Toulouse, which is a completely different ball game than Juve, I have a concern there. But I won't judge that. And I won't label that as a red flag. It's a concern. The red flags remain with everybody at the top, and I'll tell you why. Because how the hell do you allow Giuntoli to hold discussions for some of your targets when you know you're sacking the guy? The fact that he was close to a deal with 3 of our players that are targets, that are currently still targets, and then you have a completely different regime coming in to try and close it out, makes us look like donkeys. Okay, so yes, there's red flags, but it's still with the red flags that were there previously, not with Comolli and company that have just come in. But yes, there's red flags. You can't do that. This management should have been put in place immediately. You should have had this shit on lockdown. And the red flags around the coaching, we're not going to put the coaching targets that didn't hit on Comolli, but that's on the other guys, because you can't tell me we weren't in the mix for Conte. Conte and everybody close to him said it for a year and a half. He wants to be back at Juve and whatever. That fell apart. And that fell apart not because of Comolli. That fell apart because of these guys before. And they should have known. The whole situation has been a shit show. So the red flags, yeah, they're up.
Clowns.
But it's not Comolli. It's not Comolli. And, let's see but Elkann, Scandavino, and Ferraro led Giuntoli. People have to realize that. He didn't
Or they were absent at the wheel.
He didn't act without direction. The direction was financially based. My concern is that we're taking some actions that might potentially be financially based still. Will the ambition be as high as it should be at Juve? That's the concern. And only time will tell. But the red flags, the leadership is sketchy above this whole new group.
Big time.
Big time. And that's where my concerns lie. So this mercato and fans are like, when are we getting going? What are we doing? Half of this shit should have been done already. This team leaves for the States in less than a week.
By the way, I heard that Scanovino will be out by August, September. I don't remember where I heard it.
September, yeah.
But it sounds logical. Like
his
gotta
time
go.
comes up in September, I think.
He gotta go. But
Yeah.
you guys,
Yeah,
as far as Juve goes, it's gonna be a whole lot of hurry up and wait. Everything that you could possibly imagine is completely up in the air. You just got, from players to what they want to do, and even the way we talk about Tudor. You know, we talked about a request of an extra year. Who knows what these guys are gonna do, how they're gonna act. We wait. Speaking of leadership, the Azzurri.
Fuck.
I mean, you didn't think we weren't going to talk about the Azzurri. My God, you guys. That was dreadful watch yesterday. Absolutely dreadful. Soulless, gutless, no leadership. Pfft. Spalletti should have been gone after the Euros.
Spalletti gets the tay, man. If anybody's asking about the tay, Spalletti gets the big fat tay, man. What a disaster. What a shame. He should be embarrassed. He should apologize to the nation, and he should get the hell out of that dressing room.
This guy he's got to put the hookah down, man. I'm telling you, what's he even saying after? I don't even understand this. I will talk to Gravina about my intentions and the choices I make. It takes morale to support the technical qualities of a footballer. After a performance like that, you ask yourself several questions, and you realize that there are complications which must be addressed. Dude, what on earth are you talking about? This guy thinks he's some kind of philosopher. This guy is a joke.
Idiot.
Are your intentions not World Cup? What do you need to talk to Gravina about?
I don't understand. And Gravina needs to get lost too.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Those dinosaurs have stopped guys that could actually help the program for years now. They've prevented those guys from coming in. They've blocked them. They've treated it like, if you see in most cities, they have Italian cultural centers, clubs. They treat it like that, where it's these old guys stopping the young guys from coming in with their new, fresh ideas. And it's just what are we doing? That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like we're watching. And I remember we talked about it in the Army chat for our members. Baggio getting shut down when he wanted to completely overtake the youth development. And he was serious about it and had great positive ideas. Shut him down. The list goes on with players that have been shut down. People ridiculed Ancelotti, called him a traitor for taking the Brazil job. You're staring down the barrel of why he wouldn't get involved with the Azzurri, and it's Gravina who got reelected. I have no idea how you can do such a shit job and get reelected. Serie A has been going down steadily under his tutelage. The national program has been brutal. You're talking about 2 World Cups missed consecutively
Disaster.
in Italy,
disaster.
and you're reelected? The problem is much bigger than Spalletti, but right now you're in damage control mode because you cannot fail to qualify 3 times in a row. He's not going to maximize what you get out of a mid-level talent pool for the Azzurri right now, which is another issue as well. You've got to make a change. That's crazy what I'm seeing. It's a mess. It's a mess, the Azzurri. Frankie.
Agree. I completely agree. And the thing is, we were speaking about before we started recording, and I joke about it. When you have a country like Italy, who has such a history with football, you at least has to have a floor in which you cannot go below that. And we were talking about Brazil. Brazil is probably one of the worst situations they have in their history when we talk about football. But they have a floor. Okay, we're going to the World Cup. We're not obviously the best national league team in the world, but we're going to a World Cup. We're trying to compete. We have to get better. Italy has not gone to the World Cup twice in a row. That's unheard of. I'm completely shocked that is happening. And the situation is, with this loss, then the pressure starts building up again. Will Italy get out of the? Will Italy won't qualify to the World Cup again? And that works on the mind of everybody in there, players, coaches. Everybody's thinking about that. Nobody wants to be in a team that didn't get to the World Cup for the third time in a row. So it's going to be a very difficult position. I think that Spalletti should have been out after the Euros. I think that there his show was limited. And there you could have bring in a coach that maybe was better tool for a job like this. The problem is, who do you hire now? Everybody's talking about Ranieri, who's probably the Lord and Savior of teams, because he did it in Cagliari, he did it at Roma, and twice. If he's able to go to Italy and save Italy and get Italy to the World Cup, they should build them a statue in every town in Italy because of what he did. Because at the end of the day, but the reality of the situation is, this is a problem of management. I think they need another phase. I always say, everybody was talking about Del Piero to Juventus. I always say, Del Piero should not be in Juventus. Del Piero should go to maybe be president of the Federation of Italy, or a name like that. Maldini is another name that you can throw up that in that position. But you got to get that guy out of there. It's been disastrous.
It's
his
disaster.
regime is probably one of the worst.
It's getting worse. I actually told somebody the other day, I feel like it's worse than Ventura's time. Like, I actually legitimately think it's worse. We haven't scored a goal in 3 matches. Like, it's disgusting.
The players that Ventura had were worse.
Yeah, like, it's just, it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. This is, it's insane. It's.
I remember the days, Bert, where you used to have like 6 or 7 Juve players on the Italian team. So you're watching Italy, but you're watching Juve. And it's so wonderful to watch all your favorite players running around on the field in their Azzurri jerseys.
It's gone hand in hand for a while. A strong Juve was a strong Azzurri, you know?
Yeah. And Milan as well. Milan was always at the top too. And I think... there are teams that are going to be in the World Cup, that have been in the World Cup, that park the bus, get their asses to the competition, and then try and get themselves into first or second in the group, or at least second in the group. By parking the bus, playing safe soccer, and just working the system to stay in the game. And if Spalletti cannot get 11 Italian boys to show up and at least go to Norway and get a draw against a decent Norwegian team, get out of here. Get out.
It's just everything. I mean, obviously the dinosaurs need to leave and stuff, but from just a coaching perspective, you can't make the decisions that he makes repeatedly and not lose players' respect. Like, I don't think the players respect him or take him seriously with some of the decisions he's making, the indecisiveness on formations, the persistence in favoritism. I'll just be the guy that says it. Di Lorenzo as a third center back. I mean, time and time again, getting roasted out there, and you keep going with it. It's just disgusting to watch. And as a player that's being called upon, like the guys that are getting shunned for time and time and time again, it's crazy. I mean, Orsolini getting fucking shunned time and time again. It's like, what are you doing, man? He's not doing himself any favors. And then when you go out and it looks like that, you've hung yourself. It's over. It's done. Period.
And the Inter guys were shell-shocked. The Inter guys looked flat. And I'm not just saying that because Inter's a snake. But some of those players looked exhausted.
Yeah,
I haven't seen
it just
Barella look that bad in his career.
it ain't working. It ain't working, and yeah, maybe banking on those guys that played a ton, and it's just not working. All the decisions he's making have been the wrong ones, and we're going backwards instead of moving forward. So the Azzurri now they have to win out. Like they literally have to win out to have a shot here.
Mhm.
And they're gonna need a
Yeah,
slip. They're gonna need slips from Norway too, right? So Omer.
there are a lot of reasons, and I think it goes back way longer. Just they're just reaping the rewards of the past 10 years of mismanaging the league, the clubs, players, young players, especially, and they have done basically nothing to make Italy a better team. And now you're talking about another World Cup that Italy are out. There are kids out there who, for 12 years, have not seen Italy in a World Cup. That's wild to me, absolutely wild. And personally, I kind of lost interest as well. I mean, I'm not connected to anything in that team. Spalletti brought in his own agendas, which is an awful thing to do for a national team.
Yeah.
From Di Lorenzo playing center back to not calling Lucatelli again and again and again to having Merit instead of Di Gregorio because he played for you at Napoli. It's those type of decisions. Acerbi didn't want to go to the national team because of stuff Spalletti said a few months ago in the previous international break. The injuries are absolutely insane, which also ties into the league. Eventually, who was it? Coppola, who had to start, and he didn't play like a Spain or Germany. I mean, all credit to Norway, but there are three players like in that team who actually play top football. So it's not about the team. They made Italy look like they're bitches.
Yeah.
Sorry, I lost interest. It's just that's what you get when you keep investigating the teams that actually bring you players who bring you titles. I mean, yeah, Italy won in 2021, but you had to rely on like 40-year-old Bonucci and Chiellini to get through that. Um, so you keep letting teams actually demand those exaggerated numbers for players, so you don't get a cohesive team in any part of the pitch. Any part of the pitch, the midfield doesn't play for the same team, the attack doesn't play for the same team, the defense. No one is just 11 strangers because one plays for Atalanta and one plays for Newcastle.
Yeah.
And you gotta have a certain core, and that's what you get when with those inflated numbers. You get players that play regularly for mid-table teams to actually rely on, and you have to rely on those guys now to go into a World Cup. No wonder they don't make it. I'm
Yeah.
sorry,
It
I kind of
was
lost interest, and it's a lot of the FIGC's own doing that led us here.
100%. 100% and well said. It's shambolic, to be 100% honest. It's a disgrace. It's sad to see a country with a history like that go through this. It's wild. Swati, why the hell won't you call up Fede for such a decisive game? He has been carrying Italy since 2020. Also, why the disrespect to Orsolini, Zaccagni? All three should be playing from now on, right? Spalletti should have been gone at halftime, is how I felt. So the fact that nothing has happened, who knows what the hell we're going to get. It seems like now we're entering, after those words, seems like we're entering a pissing battle between him and Gravina now. Absolute joke. Absolute joke. Rumors say we sign at least 2 strikers, 1 midfielder, 1 fullback, and 1 center back. Do you see a big summer ahead, and which pieces do you see getting sacrificed to fund the mercato? Man, that last part we've been asked a lot. Who do you see getting sacrificed? I think it could go a lot of different ways because it's going to depend on the offer put forward. I think there's a lot of players that fall in that window. Depends on the offer. Guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
do you
think
see...
the ones are going to be sacrificed, I guess, would be youngsters
Yeah.
like Mbangula, Savona. Those guys were again, that was the case with Giuntoli. I have no idea who the new sporting director is. So we'll have to wait and see and what his attitude toward those guys. So yeah, I believe one of the attackers will be Colomwani. So for me, we're signing one attacker. The rest, yeah, I agree with maybe one big player leaves. Like
Yeah,
Dusan,
maybe one
Milik,
big.
I don't think they'll generate a whole lot of money for Juve anyway.
I want to twist this question up a bit and just ask about one of the rumored moves. Is anybody getting nervous around the Vlahovic sale?
We were last year. Remember when Chiesa went through this whole charade? Bert, we said to each other, he's just going to walk and we're going to get nothing. And it almost happened. And right while that was happening, we said, this will be Dusan next year. It's the same thing.
Like we need 30 million to break even, everybody. Otherwise you enter his final contract year and then you get nothing. And you don't want to pay that salary for another year like that. Like who's coming in now? It's getting quiet.
Yeah. Everybody's talking about Atletico de Madrid. I'll say this: 30 million is a feasible offer for a lot of teams, especially Premier League teams. It's not a ridiculous amount. That's one thing that I think is going to help Juve. If we talk about 30, maybe 35 at most, it's a good offer. Maybe you still believe in the striker, so you can bring a striker like that. The problem with Dusan is that you still have good strikers in form on the market. Like you have Jokeres on the market. Osimhen is still on the market. You still have David on the market. So you still have those guys. If you are a team like, let's say, Atletico de Madrid or a Premier League team, for which are you going to? I'm going for the guy on form. I'm not going for Dusan Vlahovic, whose last good season was maybe a Fiorentina. I don't know. So that's the thing. Am I getting nervous? Not nervous, because I do think he's going to get an offer. I think we're going to get an offer for him. I think there are teams that need a striker. It's not a big offer. He's still a young player, so you still get that leverage and saying that you can improve. You do have time still. So not nervous, but I do think there's a problem because there's a lot of strikers in the market that are in a better position than Dusan Vlahovic.
It's going to be tough. So the list is endless for sacrifice players. Kelly, Luiz, Kominers, Vlahovic, and Rui. However, Mark, to fund the mercato, only one player there gets you capital, and that's Rui, and it won't be much capital. So that's the thing right there. That's why I say I'm concerned about Vlahovic, and we just break even, not even an ounce of capital. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of strikers on the market. It's getting sketchy. It's getting dodgy out there.
And Bert, Dusan's not going to be cheap. He's going to say, I'm interested in what you're offering. I want this amount of money. And they're going to be like, no. He's like, oh, well, I'm going to have to take a pay cut? No, I'll just go back to Juve. The problem in the mercato is also trying to sell players that people don't want. Everybody wants to move people. Let's move Kelly. People don't want Kelly. Let's move Dusan. They don't want to pay the wages he's going to ask. So
even Douglas Luiz is going to be a break-even deal.
Yeah, you want to move people. That's great, but you have to. What you're selling is only valuable to what someone is going to pay for it.
Yeah,
and Man U has that problem, and we will have that problem with certain people that people want to sell. But luckily, we don't have to sell to buy, and that's a nice position to be in for a change.
Yeah. We just gotta wait and see. But I am getting a little sketched out with Vlahovic. We'll see. Any updates on Osimhen? I said it all along. I was never buying this Conte Osimhen crap when we were gonna get Conte and he wanted Osimhen. Where I was like, man, Osimhen for me feels like a Giuntoli thing, and I was like, I just don't see it happening. I always said low probability. I'm not really buying into it. And I think I heard today 70 million is what a Saudi team's ready to come in for to Napoli for Osimhen. He's probably going to head to Saudi. We wait and see. Has any team in Serie A made use of the first 10 days of June mercato? Should we sign or loan any players in the next 3 days? I mean, I think the only thing we're really hearing is that Milan's going to lock up Modric and De Bruyne to Napoli. That's all we're really hearing. You have a lot of moves where teams are in pole position right now, right? That's all you're really getting. There was Enrique from Marseille, I believe it is, that Napoli's in pole position to land. There's a lot of talks about Zhikrova, one of those two potentially, but nothing's really final and nothing can be final yet because this is just like a little window for really us Club World Cup teams. And funny enough, we're not doing anything, but the other teams, they're just getting the wheels in motion and getting things right. But yeah.
Yeah, everyone was mainly focused on managers more than players. And some due to their own doing, some just because they wanted a fresh environment. But yeah, it takes time. If you know who your coach is, I mean, I don't want Juve to sign anyone just for a panic buy for that tournament in the 3 days that are left.
Yeah, and you get a ton of names. Like it's like Kenneth Taylor from Ajax has been proposed to Napoli, Milan, Juve. It's like, okay, great. We've got Bellardi that's been linked to us now, and Tudor has history with him, and Comolli apparently admires him too. You just gotta wait and see. I mean, everything's gonna be all over the map right now, but nobody's really like clamping down and acting. It's been a coaching carousel.
And Bert, what's interesting about Comolli, and it may be a benefit, I'm not a Moneyball guy, but I'm also not opposed to the theory of what that can do to build a roster, to build depth, and to find value in prospects out there, because your net's going to be so much wider because you're looking at numbers, not just region or comfort zones or relationships that you have already. So Comolli might, what I'm optimistic about is in the mercato, he might bring in a lot more quantity with some quality within that. And I would like to see us be very rich and deep in our bench and have options. So maybe that's going to be something that comes from the Moneyball theory.
Yeah, I still
want Gyökeres.
I'm going into it. I'm going into it open-minded. Like obviously I'll back him, and I pray it works. It's just been really predominantly for like lower seeded project teams and not the highest ambitions, because it makes more sense financially, right? You're usually applying that to when your resources are lower, right? To build and get forward, and it has success there. But I'm trying to tie in when a team in any sport for that matter with big resources has done that and achieved the objectives or expectations, and I don't think I can, because they just don't, right? And that was my thing, is like, okay, we've played the Moneyball thing to get to where we're at now. The books are good. Now we go back to being Juve and plucking the talent where we want them and doing things like that. But now we're taking this pretty modest approach, and I don't know. I don't know how it's going to play out. Time will tell. We'll see. I'm hoping for the best. I hope Comolli comes in. I hope he hits ground running. I hope I hope we thrive financially, sporting.
You need to do both.
Yeah, it's big question mark. We just gotta see, which PSG goal did you enjoy the most against Inter? Oh my God, all five, baby,
all five.
Should have been 10. Oh my God, what a thrashing.
The one called Barcola Mes, devastating.
Oh my goodness. I had a daily update video this week where I had to finally just come out and say it, because it's just an absolute joke. I gave media the benefit of the doubt. I gave them 2 days grace. And still nobody, not a single soul, touched on the latest allegations on Inter about how they cleared up that debt, which we were all saying the math ain't mathin'. How'd you get this done with no friggin' sales? so fast and you doubled your revenue within a span of like a year and a half. And we're all asking questions. I said for the past 2 seasons, these guys shouldn't be able to register. You held other teams out from registration. And I finally just had enough. It's an absolute joke, this whole thing that's gone on. And it's wild when you think about it, because if the shoe was on the other foot, we know exactly where it would be plastered all over media, everywhere. If Juve had a player that made 2 appearances for him, okay? 2 appearances for Juve, and then 10 years down the road, evaded taxes. The headline would be like, Juventus ex-player friggin' evades taxes, in jail, in prison, whatever. And it's like, what does it have to do with Juve? You know, they make everything negative about Juve. Inter has been the filthiest scumbags forever, and it's now coming to light. Listen, like this whole thing with them, it makes perfect sense. They're looking for new ownership. They're looking for someone to buy. This was a private investigation. It was a private report from a potential buyer. That's like, well, these finances don't match. None of these companies that put in all this money and boosted the revenue show their financial numbers, which is mandatory, by the way, everybody, mandatory to show your numbers, because why? Inter was in debt. When you're in debt, the people that hold your stakes need to show that they can cover. So that was a big no-no. And there's these damn little snakes. And then mafia involvement to pressure Kovacic, the financial governing body in Italy, to not do a thing, and the FIGC in on it all. Oh my God. Get them out. Serie A relegation all the way to the bottom. Vaffanculo. Okay? But it'll never happen, and we know that, sadly. But I'm glad that now everybody's seeing how the media works and how it plays and what we've always said and what we've always known. There is one club that is the filthiest. There is only one club that has accepted cardboard while finishing 3rd in a season. There's only one club that has replicas in their fucking trophy cabinet. There's only one. Inter. Fucking bastardi. All right.
This Serie A owes itself to Juve, and Juve sells. So without us and without stories about us, without controversy about us, no one's interested.
Yeah,
no one cares.
It's all coming around full circle for them, and reality's hitting them. And I've never seen somebody pulled this up when I went on my rant on the Daily Update. They said, I've never seen the most successful club in any sport I follow, in any league, get attacked and not called by the actual league and protected and like brought forward and actually like celebrated. The other leagues all celebrate. It's like Bayern can run roughshod in Germany. You know what I mean? And like protect. If you're looking at the NFL, the historic clubs, the most successful clubs, they're celebrated. They have storylines around them. They're like the history. These are the guys. Like these are the clubs. And in Italy, they think that stepping on each other gets the others further ahead, and they're just idiots. And that's why this league will never, ever thrive again. They allowed it to happen in 2006, and now you get what you get. It's a deficit that they're probably never going to crawl out of, sadly. In addition to Lione, how would you guys feel about Coppola? Well, maybe don't look at yesterday's game. But Coppola, you were saying Brighton was in on him, Omer, earlier?
Brighton or maybe Bournemouth, some English club. No, but was it Coppola or Leone? I can't remember. I think it's the same player.
So Coppola, Comuzzo, and Leone are the 3 young guns at the back that Juve's been linked with and looking at. Let's just make the question, who's your pick out of those 3, like flat out, pound for pound? Is it Comuzzo, or do you just say no because he's Fiorentina and give those guys the day?
Honestly, I'm not big on any of them.
if I had to hand pick out of the three, like it's really tight between Leone and Comuzzo for me. I'd give the edge to Leone just because of how I've seen him handle bigger physical bodies. I'd probably give the edge to Leone, myself personally. And then Comuzzo, and then Coppola. In that order for me.
I agree. I'll probably go with Leone.
Your dog's upset there, Omer. I don't think he agrees with the Leone shout.
Oh, this is
or
not
is that
mine,
you, Paolo?
Paolo. He doesn't like Leone.
He doesn't like Leone. But... So, Frankie, who's your choice?
He said enough of Inter is what he said.
Oh, well, then it's good. Then it's good.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I would choose Leone. I think we're talking... Obviously, the three defenders are young defenders. So, but I think Leone is 18, and I've seen good games of him. I think he works good. He can work on a back two. He can work good in a back three. I think he has character. I've seen the way he plays. I like his demeanor, and as you say, he's been playing against top strikers, big strikers, and he's able to handle them in a dominant manner, and that is important for me, especially in Juventus, when we historically have those kind of defenders that are big, that are able to handle big presence. So I will go Leone. I think Leone, for me, is a no-brainer.
Yeah. And Paolo, your pick out of those three?
I love Leone. I like the body type, the play style, the age, the price point. I think he's a guy you could have for a few years, for sure.
Yeah. Italians can forgive anything but success. Enzo Ferrari, and Alex P drops that quote in there.
Nice.
Fucking spot on when you look at Juve's situation. Bino, are any of you guys going to Club World Cup game in Philly? I think there's going to be me, there's going to be Trim, there's going to be Sev, there's going to be Lewis. Paolo, you were on the fence. Are you going to be making it?
I was going to go to all of them, but I got really anxious and upset this year with Mota and the roster and the injuries and the management that I really got gun shy. Yeah, honestly, about going because I didn't know what Juve I would see. And as much I want to support my team and cheer for them and cheer for Tudor and Yildiz and see these boys out there, I'm on the fence. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Frankie, making the big... Omar, you making the huge trip over?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The 15-hour flight. Absolutely. Can't wait to see Lloyd Kelly in person.
Hey, come on.
Isn't Joe going?
Come on. I think Joey Cappuccino is going to be there too. Frankie?
Nah, I can't go. It's too much work here. I would love to go, believe me. I would love to go.
We're going to have a lot of fun, though. We're going to have a lot of fun. Like I said, special meetup on the 21st. That's a Saturday, 5 to 8 at Xfinity Live. So that's going to be good. And who has a bigger positive impact in season 25-26, Gatti or Bremer? Oh, my God. Bremer. It's got to be Bremer. It's going to have the biggest impact. We just went a season without him. He's the best center back in Serie A. And it's going to be him.
Yeah. Not even close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like
Assuming
Gatti,
he's in form and he stays healthy. I love Bremer. But I hope he's healthy, and I hope he stays healthy.
Yeah. Listening to the excellent leadership podcast interview with Comolli, he mainly spoke about creating a winning culture and uniting the entire club staff and all. Have we found the right guy? Oh, it's honeymoon phase, man. It's honeymoon phase.
I don't know. I hope.
Those are easy words to say. Like, if someone doesn't say that in an interview, you probably won't be signed. I would say the exact same thing. I need to see it in practice.
You just see, you can go to all the moves that we made, like all across the board, and you can hear the words, you can hear and it all sounds beautiful. But until you start seeing some of the fruits of the labor and what comes out of it, who knows? I honestly, I'm on the fence with this guy. I don't know. I have a little bit more concern than I am full gung ho behind this move. I'll be quite honest. I have a little more concern around it.
Yeah, but with that said, if he's able to do it, he's gonna probably want to be the job that is required to do. If he's able to do it, he's gonna be in a very important position in football, because Juventus. I remember I listened to Arturo Vidal interview, and he said when he was going to Juventus, his agent told him, "I know Juventus is not as good right now, but if you're able to go there and win, you're gonna be remembered a long time." And that can happen with Comolli. Obviously, we're not on our best moment, but if he's able to come here to Juventus and build a good culture, bring the club back, Juventus is a club that can compete to be top 5 in Europe. I truly believe at our best, we are a top 5 team in Europe, but we got to get there before. So it's a big ask, but it's also a big opportunity.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I'm looking at everything just in terms of his history and his results, and I see a lot of short tenures, a lot of short time spent with certain clubs, the longest one being with Toulouse here, but again, completely different ballgame, completely different world, and very minimal, positive results and a minimal achievement there that is big for them is really nothing in the grand scheme of things for that time frame for Juve. And it's just like the achievements mean nothing in our world. So it's like, can it apply? Who's a big club that operates Moneyball in the world of football? None of them do.
Yeah, you don't get into the game to make money, right? You just money.
Don't. It feels like it's cycles. And I mean, you could date this back to quite a while ago when you start seeing teams that succeed in succession and they put together little like good runs of 4 or 5 years. Their books usually take a shit kicking, and that's when the cycle starts. That's when you regroup and you start going again. For us in the decade of dominance, always in the red, heavily in the red, and then we got bit, right? Okay, but you look at Bayern, the books ain't looking so good, and they got to retool whatever, but they just had like 10 freaking championships like consecutively. They had doubles in there. They had a Champions League. It's like, again, to Paulo's point, you ain't in the game at that level to make the money. It's
just for the amount of time that this philosophy exists since like the 90s. I'd assume someone would have like examples of where it did work, and there are none, not in football at least. I get in other sports, but it's been around since the 90s. I've been hearing people talk about it in the 2010s, and there are 0 clubs who have something to show for it just going by this philosophy alone. So it's risky. Like, you can do it halfway. Okay.
Yeah.
Liverpool are partly built on that, but there's still like the connection to the club. They do go a lot by stats and stuff. But there are other issues that you have to consider and other factors when you sign a player, when you sign a manager. So yeah, just give me one example where it worked out, complete Moneyball, and a team has won their league based only on that philosophy. And I'll tell you, okay, one is not enough.
Yeah, Pino
but now
says,
we have 0.
And we got Cugino Eddie here saying that Moneyball doesn't work in team sports. Baseball is one that you had that World Series winning team, yeah, right? That was based off Moneyball. But he says that's more of actually being an individual sport. It's how the game is viewed and whatnot with batters, etc. It's a very unique sport. So, I mean, I could see that argument. I just haven't seen big teams do it, and it's not a high enough success rate. And again, when you look at Comolli, I always said this, for hit or miss, going by his model, he's not way above the cut on other sporting directors in terms of hits versus misses in terms of signings at the clubs he's been at. Yeah, he's got some good signings to his name, but he's got a lot of misses. He's not way above the curve. So again,
And we got trust issues. I have this
big time.
Elkann. This whole last year went from being exciting to disastrous. I got major trust issues with Elkann and down. So
yeah,
it doesn't help.
Elkann just needs to be the money, and you can't steer a ship from the shore. He needs to go. He's just the money. And Scannavino and Ferraro have overstayed their welcome in terms of my personal opinion, and they just offer nothing to this club. Chiellini will help just because you need some guys that honestly have a little bit of appeal, have a lure to like players in the game, means something to the world of football. Also, that could be like, wow, like this guy called me up personally, like this is amazing. Like they take you seriously. What the fuck are you going to do if Ferraro calls you? Nothing. Means nothing. Scannavino? Who are you? Is this a prank call? Like, what do you mean to me? Chiellini will mean something if he calls you. You know what I mean? Like, you got to have that element. You got to have that element around it. Juve's had it for a long time. We lost it. But you got to have that. It's got to be a nice balanced thing. So the trust issues in Elkann and them, it's all there. Pino brings up one that says, with the management mess, lack of coaching, won't it make a negative impact on signing players? I mean, we talked about this. How on earth could you allow Giuntoli, knowing that you're getting rid of him, start to operate for a mercato in the Club World Cup? Like, that makes no sense to me. So the trust issues that Paulo talks about, yeah, they're real, and we have them, and it's because of situations like this. It feels right across the board like Juve's just a little too slow. Very reactionary as opposed to proactive. I've felt this way. I feel like we've talked about this at the end of, 4 seasons straight now, Omer? That, like, it feels like it always comes up. It's like, why are we so reactionary? It's always reactionary. And that's how I feel about the guys in charge right now.
Because it doesn't seem like anyone is setting, not even a tone, like an agenda, something to work by. If your goal right now is to assemble a management, then do that. Don't do anything else. Assemble the management that needs to take Juve into this next season, then go on to other issues. But it all seems, really reactionary based on what Juve need in the next week. And then in the week afterwards, we'll talk about what we need for that week. It kind of feels like that for a long time right now. Set clear objectives and follow them, not 1 or 2. Set objectives all the way to next summer.
Yeah.
And start working one at a time.
Yeah. We need to wake up though and like actually start moving. I myself am not happy with how slow these things have been happening, and just this management team should have been for sporting director still not named. Guys, come on. Like,
It's
this
foolish.
got it.
It's really foolish.
Yeah, this has to be locked in. And I mean, so what do the rumors ultimately mean without an actual sporting director too? Like, it's just we look Mickey Mouse, and that's the part that drives me up the wall, is because you've got a club like Juventus, and it's being run like a Serie B side. That's how it's being operated, in my opinion. And it's well below the standards. And fans, eventually, like, it shouldn't have ended with Giuntoli. And I swear that these guys know where the heat was starting to go, and where the guns from the fan base are starting to get pointed. And they said, you know what? We'll give you this. We'll give you Giuntoli as your sacrificial lamb. But I'm not buying it. 3 more heads needed to roll. Okay? But we'll see. In terms of Juve Cope Miners, he's back in action, back in training, full progress. We had this chat in the army there, and it was like, who's banking on him to bounce back? Who says he has a bounce back 25-26 season? Paulo?
Big time. I love RoboCoop, man. That goal he scored, that beauty free kick, this guy's gold, man. He's a great player. Tudor, figure it out. Somebody figure it out. I love Coop. Let's go. Come on.
You're okay, so you're backing him. You say bounce
time.
back 25-26
Absolutely.
season. Omer, bounce
Absolutely.
back 25-26 season for Cope Miners?
Yeah, no one ever remembers what I say, when the season ends. So, yeah, absolutely. He's going to kill it. Ballon d'Or winner next season. Hopefully.
Frankie, bounce back?
Yeah, as in his last games, I've seen improvement. And I think with Tudor, the system that Tudor works with, I think it suits him better. So I think it's going to be better with Tudor. So, yeah, bounce back.
I'll put a bounce back season on it. I'll put a bounce back season on Cope Miners. I think he'll be good. Yeah, we'll see. Cope Miners still got and the poop nickname still out there. Swarit, Drin, I see you guys.
Poor
there.
Gotta earn the K back into his name.
Yeah, he's gotta earn the K back. He's fighting for the K this year. We'll see. But as far as the injury rundown, that's all it goes. There's question marks around Cabal. I saw in the chat there. When is he going to be back? Him and Bremer are probably going to be coasted into the 25-26 season, and I'm fine with it. Club World Cup, guys, this is going to be about Tudor figuring out even more, learning even more about the team, figuring out what we should be bringing in for him. It's going to be time for these data analyzers to punch all their numbers into their Excel spreadsheets and figure out who the fuck we're going to target, okay? So they can have fun with their data analysis, but we got to start getting cooking. The Club World Cup, hit the knockouts, try and get as much money as you can. That's serious. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about Juve and the Club World Cup, right? The group we're in, we should be able to advance to the knockout rounds. From there, anything can happen. But I will say this for Cope Miners, or for Tudor, excuse me. We should talk about Tudor. He was kind of disrespected. But I think there's a lot of fans that have thrown in the towel. And we're going to finish off on this discussion. They've thrown in the towel on Tudor and this season and said, here comes 5th, here comes 7th. How do you guys feel when you hear that comment made for Tudor sticking around for this season? Because I said when all these targets went away, I said our best option has become Igor Tudor. And I would take the option. I would reassess the coaching landscape after a year. But how do you feel when you hear comments like, here comes 7th place? We'll start with Paulo.
I always put everything on the coach. I don't give players free passes, but I do put it on the coach. Tudor's on the sideline. He's charming, he's handsome, he's got a great suit, he's got the energy, the grinta, the guy cares. So I'm very happy for Tudor to stick around, maybe for the year, and grow with the team and figure some stuff out while the management gets their shit together. However, I don't know if he is an elite coach. I don't know if he's a Juve coach. I don't know if he can take us to a title. So we'll see. But I'm grateful that we have a character person in that position, a respectable character guy. I don't know what he can do strategically against some of these other coaches this year. I'm a bit worried about what he can pull out of a bag and get results. I'm a bit worried.
Frankie, what do you think when you hear comments like that? Here comes 7th place because we got Tudor staying.
Completely disagree. I think Tudor gets disrespected, and I think that everybody talks about he wasn't in any club a long time, but if you take into consideration all the clubs that he was in, they were shit shows. Kiev is a small club. Nobody wants to stay at Kiev a long time. You want to get your job done, and if you get a better offer, you leave. Marseille has been a shit show. Management has been a shit show for a long time. And Lazio, I don't need to talk about Lazio. I think he is a very good coach. He has dealt with difficult situations, and I'm completely sure we're going to get an easy top four, and I wouldn't be surprised if we compete for an Scudetto. And I know everybody's going to say I'm crazy because he's not Conte. I have that much faith in Igor Tudor, and I know that all those ties that we had with Mota, we're not having them with Tudor.
That is strong from Frankie. Holy smoke. Saving the cannon for the end of the show there. I love it. Omer, your thoughts when you hear those comments around Tudor remaining in 7th? Here comes 7th.
Just if you're giving up on the season already and before the summer even started, then don't bother watching. I mean, eventually those managers have to make the jump. You can't always sign a world-class manager to actually get you to the top level. Who was sleepy? Conte was coaching in Serie B, had an awful season with Atalanta. And Luis Enrique, if anyone remembers, he was Roma's coach before he went back to Barca to coach them the first time. Who would have signed him then? I mean, eventually some of those managers will make the jump and be considered like elite or top coaches. I wish it would happen for Juve. I wish it would happen with Tudor next season. Based on the options out there, I mean, we really need to just go this route. I don't see anyone coming in, especially not for the same salary. All the Klopp and Zidane talks are just are delusional at this point. Go with him. I'm more leaning towards Frankie. I think there's a good chance here because of everything that's going on with the other teams in the league and everyone going through changes and whatever. So, yeah, I don't like hearing it as much as I don't like seeing it actually happening live.
Yeah.
So, yeah, top 4 for me at least. And there's a good chance of competing for a Scudetto if things go the way it should.
I like it. I'm going to say this. I mean, I just can't buy into it. I can't buy into that feeling, those sentiments at all. And the reason is just how this season played out. Barely over 80 points for a Scudetto winner. All the teams inconsistent. All the teams unconvincing. And now you've played the high school dating game with all the coaches across Serie A and everybody's going in different partnerships all over the place. It's completely going to be wide open again. Conte is set up the best out of anybody. Conte's in the best shape right now.
Big time.
However, enter Conte in multiple competitions. So all of a sudden, that's his little kryptonite that will play a part in everything as well. I still think it's going to be an unconvincing Serie A, and I still think we will be in the mix and in the fight. If we believe that Tudor would have done a better job and finished us higher in the season if we had him from the start versus Motta, then that theory should remain going into this season. So I actually believe, I'd like to believe we can fight for that Scudetto. But there were a couple circumstances through the final matches where some of the things that allowed us to finish with 21 or 24 points coughed up from winning positions, some of those details were still around. But if you make improvements to the roster and you get back Bremer for Tudor, that actually makes a huge difference. And you can't tell me that number wouldn't have been significantly smaller in points given up from Leeds if you had Bremer around. It definitely would have been a smaller amount of points, and you would have been comfortably in the top 4. So I'm not buying into it. I think it's going to be wide open, and there's been way too many changes to think otherwise. Nobody's going to run away with this thing next year. Inter's going to get relegated. And Napoli set up the best. Milan will be a little bit better with Max. Gasperini's going to do the same thing with Roma that he did with Atalanta, but he's going to take 10 years to do it. Atalanta with Juric, he's going to be sacked before Christmas, mark my words, and they'll go through 3 coaches next season. It's going to be chaos. We'll be just fine. Do not give up on the season yet, everybody, okay? Relax. It's going to be okay. But on that note, we got to wrap things up. You guys, fantastic stuff. Paolo, Frankie, Omer, absolute pleasure. In Tudor, we trust. We finished there. In Tudor, we trust. Hey, just like all the men before him, we give him the benefit of the doubt and we support him and fully back him for this season, okay? But Club World Cup first. Let's see what he can do. And then let's get some signings for the guys, okay? Comolli, Let's go. What do you need here? Okay, let's analyze that data. Let's get some damn signings in here. Okay, let's go. But you guys, stay tuned for more news on Club World Cup. I'll give you all the details on what to do, but reach out if you're going to be around any of those matches. You want to be part of an official fan club, okay? Reach out to us if you need help with that. Until next time, as always, fino alla fine, forza Juventus. Ciao tutti. Take care, everybody.